Ponyfans.com, joined by linebacker Cameron Rogers. You haven't had to bounce back from a loss in a month and a half. What's the key to sort of repairing the psyche and bouncing back after Southern Miss?
Well, you got to have a short memory. You got to put it behind you, and you got to just look forward to getting on and roll again because, you stumble with that loss, but we know that we're a good team, and we didn't do what we needed to do last week, but, we got to stay strong, and we just need to get on another roll again, and we'll be fine.
All right, you come from the Southern Miss game, you go right back on the road to a team you're very familiar with in Tulsa. Coach Jones was saying everything Tulsa does offensively starts and ends with their quarterback, G.J. Kinney. Where does he rank compared to other quarterbacks in terms of his balance between his mobility and his passing ability?
Well, he's right up there with the top quarterbacks that we face. I mean, the kid's been in the system for a while. He knows that offense back and front. So, I mean, he knows what he needs to do, and the offense is going to go through him. The offense will go as he goes. So he's one of those kids that knows where his reads are going to be, and he can read defense as well. So it's going to be a key for us to stop him, to be able to stop their offense.
You always hear players and coaches talk about, we want to make an offense one-dimensional. If you have a great, very mobile quarterback, you want to make him throw. If you got a great passer, you want to make him run. This guy can do both. What do you want to do with G.J. Kinney?
Well, we just want to try to get pressure on him. We want him to feel as uncomfortable as possible. We want him to in the back of his mind, know that there's pressure coming. He needs to get the ball out quick. That's what we want him to not be able to go through his reads as comfortably as he has been used to. We want to get pressure on him as much as possible.
They have a new coaching staff in Tulsa this year. Obviously, last year's guy, Todd Graham, who's now at Pitt, was an offensive coach. Is there any, when you study the film, is there any change in the scheme and the looks that they're going to give you offensively?
They do similar to what they did last year. They kind of carried over from what they have done last year. So I know we have been talking special teams about how they were, more of like a kind of a trick gadget team last year with the old coaching staff. Not so much this year, especially with special teams. But as far as offense goes, it seems to be pretty much the same or similar to what they've done last year. With of course, there's always different changes from year to year with any coach, but for the most part, it's been about the same.
All right, G.J. Kinney gets all the attention up there, and deservedly so. He's a very good quarterback. They had those three receivers who are gone: Trey Johnson, Damaris Johnson, Charles Clay. What about their running game? When you look at their running game, they've got two running backs who both have close to 500 yards. Are they similar style runners, or does one present more of a challenge to your defense than the other?
I mean, they're both good runners, and they're both athletic. And I know they use number 34. I think his name's Willie Carter. I think is his name. He's kind of their all-purpose guy. He's got good hands. He goes out and passes. He's a good receiver. He's a dual threat. He can run the ball, and he can go out for passes. But I mean, they both got they have good ability. So that's going to be important for us to know where they are at all times, especially in the passing game, because they'll check down to them a lot.
All right, those three receivers who are gone seem like they were there forever, because I guess they all started as freshmen. When you look at this year's crop of receivers, well, first of all, as a linebacker, how much do you even study their receivers, or are you spending all your attention on the quarterback, the offensive line, and the running backs?
I wish I could just focus on one thing, but I mean, you got to know receivers, you got to know the whole offense. Everyone on defense does. But I mean, they got a good receiving core. They're efficient, is what they are. I mean, they're not too flashy, but they get the job done. They run routes well, and quarterback does a good job of finding them. So I mean, you got to know the receivers. You got to know everything. So that's a good receiving core that we got to face.
Tulsa comes into this game 4-3, and they've lost to three really good teams: Oklahoma, Boise State, and Oklahoma State, and they've beaten Tulane, North Texas, UAB, and Rice. Can you get a gauge on how good this team is?
I mean, it's hard to tell. It's their record's misleading because, like you said, they've played the game that they've lost or to, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Boise. So it's you can't say that they've lost 3 games and then maybe they're not as good as we think. But they're undefeated in our conference. They're ahead of us right now in the conference. So and then it's a good team. Like you can't be fooled by their record because they've played some really good teams. They're definitely a good team. We can't overlook them.
2 years ago, you came down the stretch at the end of the season, got bowl eligible for the first time in a couple decades. You have a chance to be bowl eligible before Halloween. Is that weird for you to think about, or do you and your teammates even talk about that?
Well, I mean, it's all, obviously when we're talking about when you got 5 wins, you got to get that 6th one to become bowl eligible. So, we've been blessed to have come out with a good start this season, and I mean, it's exciting because it used to be being bowl eligible was so unreachable back in the days, but now it's, yeah, like you said, we're getting it before Halloween, an opportunity to become bowl eligible. So yeah, everyone's excited, and we got to win this game. It's a must-win for us. We need to get it.
All right, you did take a stumble a little bit in Hattiesburg on Saturday, but you are 5-2, and you're facing a team that you've beaten 2 years in a row now in Tulsa. Give me a sketch of where the mindset and confidence of your team is going up to Tulsa this weekend.
Well, I mean, we got to stay confident, but we can't be overconfident. We can't overlook this team. That's a good team that we're about to face, and yeah, we stumbled in Hattiesburg. We got to rebuild. We got to, like I said, we got to move on from that, and we got to remember that we are a good team. You know, we just didn't get it done last Saturday. We're a good team, and we're gonna. I think our confidence is still up, and I don't think anything's been broken from that loss. I think we're gonna be fine.